Epic Turla is a massive, multi-part cyber espionage operation, which has been ongoing for at least 4 years, undetected until recently. G-Data published the first findings in the Ouroboros malware in February 2014, but they weren't sure how the malware was getting into the victim machines at the time. Since then, Symantec and Kaspersky were able to sort out the details of the attack vectors, publishing their findings in August. In December, Kaspersky released another report that Turla had just been found in a Linux system where all previous instances saw Turla targeting Windows machines. With these new developments and a better understanding of the intricacies and mechanisms used by Turla's creators, Kaspersky, Symantec, and others feel that there will continue to be new findings regarding one of the most complex and dangerous APTs in the world. Epic Turla uses a multi-step process to inject a backdoor into a victim machine, which is then upgraded, and a rootkit comprised of 2 files, a driver, and an encrypted file system is installed. This operation has used at least 2 zero-day exploits, CVE 2013-5065, which is a privilege escalation vulnerability in Windows XP and Windows 2003, and CVE 2013-3346, which is an arbitrary code execution vulnerability in Adobe Reader. Information on Ouroboros was published by G-Data in February 2014 without an understanding of the infection vector. Kaspersky's report in August 2014 further elaborated on G-Data's findings as well as detailed the process used to compromise the victims. The target victims of Turla attacks appear to be government institutions, embassies, military establishments, education sectors, and research and pharmaceutical companies, with several hundred computers known to be compromised in over 45 countries. France, Russia, Belarus, Romania, and the US are currently leading in infections. The Epic Turla attack vector is described by Kaspersky as involving 3 different mediums: spear phishing, social engineering, and watering holes. Kaspersky hadn't been able to locate any emails, but were able to find attachments which used the Adobe PDF exploit CVE 2013-3346 mentioned earlier. Some of the attachment names also illustrate the targets of these attacks. A successfully spear-phished victim would open the infected PDF, which would install the Trojan.whipbot. This Trojan's main purpose seems to be reconnaissance in order to determine if the victim is interesting. Another way the spear phishing campaign would work successfully is to get the target to navigate to a compromised website. Epic Turla combined social engineering techniques with their watering hole attacks to trick users into running a fake Flash player like this one on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Tajikistan's website. They've also been known to trick people into downloading and running a fake Microsoft Security Essentials app with a valid digital certificate. The file is a .NET application that contains an encrypted file surrounding the Epic backdoor, which then connects to the command and control servers. Epic Turla commands over 100 injected websites, with the largest numbers found in Romania. Most of the infected sites use the type 03 CMS, which can indicate there's a specific vulnerability being used here. An infected site will load a remote JavaScript into the victim's browser. The script sitenavigation.js redirects to a PHP script, often called main.php or rec.php. The attackers have also been observed using JPEG files to run PHP scripts. One version of the script attempts to exploit Internet Explorer versions 6, 7, and 8. Another version attempts to exploit Java and Adobe Flash Player. This exploit attacks a popular vulnerability, CVE 2012-1723, then drops a payload, which includes a special loader which injects the final Epic backdoor into Explorer.exe. The Epic command and control infrastructure has the attacker connecting to the mothership through a VPN and a couple of proxies. The Epic victim will connect to a water hole, which will then redirect to the mothership. The mothership then installs the Epic backdoor, which in turn connects back to the mothership awaiting instructions. The mothership is generally a VPS, which runs the control panel software used to interact with the victims. The control panel is password protected. Once logged in, the control panel has various options that can be used to define the IP ranges to target. The server Kaspersky accessed gave 2 options for networks to connect to: Country A, which is a federal government network, or Country B, which is a government telecommunications and informatics services network. In addition to these options, there were 3 other values in the accept.css file where a non-attack reason could be listed. The browser and operating system versions that don't meet the conditions are Windows 7 or 2008 R2, Internet Explorer 8, Mozilla 4, and various Adobe Shockwave, Flash, Adobe Reader, and Windows Media Player versions. The Epic Tabdig whipbot backdoor is the early stage infection mechanism. In the first stage of the attack, a custom backdoor is used with the CVE 2013-5065 exploit and is heavily obfuscated, making analysis more challenging. This exploit allows the backdoor to gain admin privileges. The backdoor is about 60 kilobytes in size and implements a CNC protocol on top of normal HTTP requests. The communication protocol uses the div requests, which the malware decrypts and processes, and then replies to the CNC through the same channel. There's a configuration block containing 2 hard-coded URLs, but these can be reconfigured on the fly via the CNC. The backdoor will also check for certain processes, which may compromise its mission, such as TCP dump, WinDump, Ethereal, Wireshark, Ettercap, Snoop, and dsniff. If any of these are discovered, it will terminate itself. The initial backdoor will have an internal unique ID used to identify the victim to the CNC. Once a victim is confirmed as interesting, a new unique ID is uploaded, which is used to control the specific victim. During the first call, the backdoor will send the victim's system information. All further information sent to the CNC is encrypted with a public key framework. Once a victim is infected and has checked in with the server, a template of commands are sent. Then the attacker will attempt to move through the victim's network using predefined or collected passwords. Another commonly observed activity is the listing of all the .doc files. In addition to generic digging, some specific searches were discovered, including NATO.msg, EU Energy Dialogue, EU Message, and Budapest.message. Also, the CNC logs were encrypted with RSA encryption, so they could not be read. Once the initial backdoor is in place and the first batch of commands have been sent, the next step observed in the process is the uploading of several tools used for lateral movement. These include a keylogger installs, which then creates a temp file. Another tool uploaded is winrs.exe, which contains the DNS query tool from Microsoft. In addition to these tools, a new backdoor is delivered to the victim called Carbon System, or Cobra, which is an extensible platform that can be added to and modified as needed. This backdoor works in conjunction with Turla, which has been shown to perform as a plugin for the Carbon System. The plugins for the Carbon System can be easily recognized, as they always feature 2 exports named module start and module stop. Some modules provide artifacts showing that Carbon is already at version 3. This section will discuss GData's report on Ouroboros. Ouroboros is a rootkit composed of 2 files, a driver and an encrypted virtual file system. The rootkit is able to take control of an infected machine, execute arbitrary commands, and hide system activities. It can also steal information and capture network traffic. It has a modular structure, allowing for easy addition of new features, making it highly flexible and especially dangerous. The driver design makes Ouroboros very difficult to identify. The level of technical complexity suggests connections to intelligence agencies, which is in line with the EPIC Turla targets. Ouroboros also works in peer-to-peer mode, which indicates that it's designed to invade deep within networks where hosts are meant to be protected from the internet. Ouroboros supports Windows 32-bit and 64-bit systems, and at the time of the GData report, the Linux connection hadn't been discovered yet. There are several factors linking Ouroboros to agent.btz. GData explains that file names, encryption keys, and behaviors all match. Ouroboros also checks to see if agent.btz is present and won't initialize if it is. Due to the driver compilation date in 2011, GData feels that this malware has been active and undiscovered for at least 3 years. There are several file names that the driver is using, including Ultra3, MSW32, VStore32, and 32 and 64-bit drivers have been found, and the 2 binaries can exist simultaneously on one machine. The file containing the virtual file system has a random name followed by the extension .dat and is located in the same directory as the driver file. The following pattern was discovered in the system, however. A service is created which automatically executes during startup of the system and is located in the current control set services Ultra3. The Ouroboros driver performs several functions, including decrypting the virtual file systems, injecting libraries in the user's land, establishing and managing communication channels, and creating hooks to hide its activities. The hooks are performed via inline patching, which redirects the execution flow of a system function to a custom code before sending it back to the original function. This adds malicious behavior to legitimate functions. The main hooked functions are designed to hide the persistence keys, driver and file system files, and rootkit handles, terminate the rootkit during operating system shutdown, and to hide the virtual file systems. There are 2 virtual file systems, one NTFS and one FAT. They can store third-party tools, post-exploitation tools, temporary files, and binary output. The NTFS file system is encrypted using CAS128, and the key is hard-coded within the driver file. Once decrypted, the file system operates as a classic NTFS volume. GData determined that the Q file is the most interesting part of the file system. Each message contains a unique ID, a type, a timestamp, and content. The content is encrypted with the key stored in the message, which can contain a key to decrypt other messages, a configuration, or a file or library to inject into userland. There were several third-party tools found, including a dumper for NTLM hashes, information gathering tools, RAR tools, and Microsoft Office document stealers. The driver injects several libraries into user land, which are used to create a proxy between the kernel land and the user land. The libraries are very large and contain a lot of features. They can be used to manage a PCAP capture in order to get a snapshot of network traffic and to exfiltrate data out to the attackers. This is performed via HTTP through a website as an application or an image, ICMP, SMTP as an email, or as a named pipe. The named pipe capability allows for peer-to-peer connection, which enables the compromised internet-facing machine to act as a proxy in order for the attackers to gain access to machines inside the network with no direct internet connection. GData feels very strongly that Ouroboros has Russian roots and is a further development of agent.btz, which was used to compromise the Department of Defense in 2008. The complexity of Epic Turla requires highly skilled computer experts and a huge investment, which suggests connections to intelligence agencies, but there's still not enough evidence to clearly identify the creators. What GData and Kaspersky do know is that the Epic Turla cyber espionage campaign has gone undetected for at least 3 years, seeking high-level targets and is an ongoing threat. This level of data stealing software is too extensive to be used as common spyware and is being reserved for critical targets.